Hey, listen, have you ever had a moment like this? You meet someone who at first glance seems calm and composed, their every action giving no hint of turbulence beneath the surface, yet you can't shake the feeling that some unspeakable secret is buried deep in their heart. The more you observe them, the more this subtle, almost intangible sense of mystery pulls you in, as if a door is left slightly ajar, hiding something darker than the night itself. Today we're going to talk about a book that captures this exact feeling, Delusion, a classic masterpiece by Kigo Higashino. The story spans 20 years, and it opens with an eerie murder. A man is found dead in an abandoned building. All the clues point to two children. One is Yukiho, a brilliant but silent girl, and the other is Ryoji, a boy from a fractured family with defiant eyes. They seem to have said nothing, yet somehow they appear to have missed nothing. Beneath the ice-cold reasoning and meticulous logic, the story reveals not just a simple crime, but the most complex desires and cruelest forms of love nestled deep within human nature. Creepy yet irresistibly compelling, isn't it? With this book, Kigo Higashino asks you a haunting question. What kind of love could compel someone to abandon the light and choose to walk only in the endless night? And what kind of secret could freeze every trace of warmth in a person's life? Today, let's dive into the 20 years of intertwined light and shadow, and uncover what truly lies behind that half-open door. Hi there, welcome to Delusion. I'm Sunshine, and thank you for sharing this wonderful moment with me. Today, let's talk about a very unique book, Journey Under the Midnight Sun. This is not a light-hearted novel, but it might be one that lingers with you, leaving a deep mark on your heart. Let me ask you a question first. Do you believe a person's entire life can be completely altered by a traumatic event in their childhood? And that transformation, far from being filled with sunshine or inspiration, is instead immersed in deep darkness? This is the core of the story in Kigo Higashino's Journey Under the Midnight Sun. You might already be familiar with the name Kigo Higashino. He's a master of Japanese mystery novels and an incredibly prolific author, having published more than 70 works so far. He studied engineering in his early years but later shifted to writing novels, though he initially faced constant rejection, failing to win newcomer awards for several years. Yet he never gave up. In 1985, he won the highly prestigious Itagawa Rampo Prize in Japan's mystery writing circle with his novel, After School, marking a turning point in his career. Higashino's works have a distinct feature. He doesn't just focus on whodunit mysteries but loves to delve deeply into the motivations behind human nature and explore societal issues. Journey Under the Midnight Sun represents the pinnacle of this style. The book was first published in 1999, during a period when Japanese society was grappling with the aftermath of an economic bubble burst, leaving many struggling in confusion and searching for answers. Through Journey Under the Midnight Sun, Higashino shifts his lens to those living on the fringes of society and the human choices they make under pressure and despair. The story begins in Osaka in 1973, with the discovery of a corpse in an abandoned building. This isn't the kind of straightforward and satisfying mystery that ends with justice served. It feels more like a slowly unfurling web. While the police investigation never stops, the case always seems to have a corner deliberately obscured, making the truth elusive. Running parallel to this investigation is the story of two children whose lives are irrevocably changed. Yukiho, with a name as pure as snow, exudes grace and beauty but hides a world of secrets. Ryoji, an intelligent boy whose life is marked by twists and turns. As their journey from childhood to adulthood slowly unfolds, you'll increasingly sense that the dark path they tread for survival and secrecy has made it impossible for them to return to who they once were. Higashino masterfully crafts the structure of the book. The entire story is like piecing together a massive and intricate puzzle. While no single chapter reveals all the truths directly, each puzzle piece offers subtle hints of deeper connections. In other words, you won't fully grasp the story's depth until you finish the entire book and realize that seemingly insignificant details were carefully planted as crucial clues. Journey Under the Midnight Sun depicts a 19-year-long chase across time and space. All the characters, whether detectives, bystanders, or those around the protagonists, seem woven together into an intricate web of fate, yet the only glimmering light is an ever-deepening darkness. The title, Journey Under the Midnight Sun, already hints at the essence of the story. Even if they walk in the brightness of daylight, their world remains shrouded in an endless night. The book sparked a tremendous response and was later adapted into both a television series and a movie. Regardless of the format, it never fails to move people. Why is that? Because Kigo Higashino doesn't just write about cases, he writes about humanity. In this book, you'll glimpse reflections of post-war Japanese society, suffocating family relationships, the clash between poverty and desire, and compromises made merely to survive. More importantly, it will compel you to ask yourself, if you were in similar circumstances, would you become the same? The success of Journey Under the Midnight Sun lies not just in its suspenseful and gripping narrative but also in the complex emotions it evokes. This is a deeply heavy book, but its purpose isn't to crush you. Rather, it forces you to confront the abyss of human nature and explore whether there's still a faint glimmer of light amidst the darkness. If you haven't read this book yet, I want to tell you, it might not bring you joy, but it will certainly leave something within you that's worth pondering and reflecting on. That's all for today. I hope this book lets you experience a different kind of charm in mystery novels. Today, let's dive into the thought-provoking core aspects of Journey Under the Midnight Sun. Don't worry, we promise there'll be no spoilers. Our goal is simply to explore what profound insights this book offers and how it may even inspire your real life. First, let's discuss the theme of humanity and moral dilemmas. Have you ever pondered this question, is it good people doing bad things, or bad people with justifiable reasons? Journey Under the Midnight Sun presents many complex scenarios of human nature. For instance, the protagonist is fully aware that what they're doing is morally wrong, but they still risk everything to protect someone. The genius of Kigo Higashino lies in the fact that he never tells you whether the decision is right or wrong. Instead, he pushes you to ask yourself, if you face the same situation, what choice would you make? This reminds me of those you have no choice moments in life, such as sacrificing your hobbies for your family, or telling a little white lie for the sake of work. Each of us at some point has to contend with these pulling forces between humanity and morality. Next, let's discuss the power of environment. All the characters in the book have one common thread. They live in an environment fraught with problems. This reminds me of a particularly striking quote, "A person is a product of their environment." As children, if you grow up in a space lacking trust and love, what kind of person might you become? It's hard to imagine, isn't it? Yet, the characters in the story are desperately struggling to survive in such conditions. This made me more aware of the subtle influences of the environment, not just on others, but on myself too. For instance, if your workplace has a toxic atmosphere, you might become more cynical. Cold relationships in families may unconsciously be passed down to the next generation. This point feels incredibly real. The third key theme is appearances versus truth. Higashino has this amazing talent. He plants clues that make you think, I've figured it out, only to later turn everything upside down with a twist, revealing that the truth is completely different. It reminds me of various aspects of life. Have you ever noticed how those who post the most glamorous moments on social media are often not as happy as they seem? Or how a coworker who claims everything is fine might actually be mentally and emotionally drained? Looking at surface-level appearances often tells you very little. Learning to observe the details and read between the lines is often the true path to uncovering the truth. Now let's talk about love, its obsession and its destruction. This topic might feel a bit heavy, but think about it. Are there people who, in order to protect their loved ones, resort to extreme, even irrational actions? In the book, some characters' love drives them to harm others' lives. This brought to mind the concept of toxic love in real life. For example, some parents control every decision their children make under the guise of love. Or someone turns their romantic partner into a prisoner in the name of affection. Love itself is not wrong, but if it transforms into possession and confinement, it can destroy everything. Higashino taught me to define the boundary between love and obsession. Next is the theme of selfishness and sacrifice. Throughout Journey Under the Midnight Sun, you'll notice how the characters pursue their own happiness, often at the expense of others. This raises a question: is selfishness and self-preservation truly irreconcilable? Think about how, in our daily lives, actions that appear selfish are sometimes born out of sheer necessity. For example, working overtime instead of spending time with family. Does that count as selfishness? Sometimes we find answers, other times we don't. But the book encourages us to confront these subtle discomforts and paradoxes head-on. Another theme that deeply resonated with me is loneliness. The entire book carries a pervasive sense of loneliness, whether it's the protagonist's mindset or the progression of the plot. You can feel the sadness of people being unable to truly connect with one another. It's heartbreaking yet incredibly real. When you think about it, no matter how close we are to lovers, family, or friends, everyone is ultimately lonely to some degree. Accepting this loneliness might just be the first step toward learning to love yourself. One of the aspects I find absolutely brilliant is how Journey Under the Midnight Sun shatters the stereotypical boundaries of good guys and bad guys. You'll discover that seemingly upright characters also harbor their dark sides, while so-called villains may simply be struggling to survive. This blurred line between black and white feels so vivid and relatable. In real life, no one is perfect. What you see as their shiny exterior is simply the part they choose to show you. Understanding this truth can make life feel much less stressful. Finally, let's touch on the ultimate theme, fate. The entire book conveys a strong sense of destiny. Every choice the characters make feels both random and inevitable. Sounds philosophical, doesn't it? But think about it, don't we often feel like life is a vast net that we're entangled in, struggling to escape yet bound to it? What the book taught me is this: yes, the net may exist, but you can still choose how you move through it. You can choose not to give up. That in conclusion, this book feels like a human experiment. One that doesn't give you answers but compels you to think. There is a scene that left a particularly deep impression on me. It describes a little boy standing all alone on an old, desolate street. The surrounding cold is biting, and the frosty air feels piercing against the skin. Slowly, he stretches out his hand under the dim, yellow streetlights. His small hands are thin and dirty, like lifeless stones devoid of warmth. He seems to be reaching for something, yet there's nothing around him. All the light shines on him, but none of it brings any warmth. This scene feels like a silent wound, slowly splitting open inside you. You can almost hear an unspoken loneliness reverberating. He is the person abandoned by this world, and also the person who has chosen to abandon the world. To be honest, Kigo Higashino is incredibly skilled at this kind of storytelling. On the surface, this is just a moment focusing on a child, but when you think about it, isn't this image strikingly reminiscent of Ryoji, the protagonist of the story? From that moment on, he was destined to live in the shadows, forever following the trajectory of darkness. There is no pity here and no salvation. You even realize that he never resisted. Why is that? Because the world had never once shown him its light. This harshness runs throughout the book, but it also forces you to think, when all of a person's choices are stripped away, can concepts like morality or freedom still hold any meaning? Interestingly, Higashino gives Ryoji a counterpart in Yukiko, a character starting from a completely different place. Her environment seems slightly better, yet her path is no easier. She chooses a seemingly colder, more ruthless way of seizing control of her fate, gripping it tightly in her own hands. But what was the result? The book offers not a single wasted word of judgment. Everything resides quietly in her actions and her gaze. It is only when you close the book and reflect that you truly understand. This is not merely a tangled bond between two people, but rather a tug-of-war between darkness and light. When one person's darkness overlaps with another's, can the world still have justice? Or perhaps in their world, justice never existed in the first place. Hearing this, you might think that this book isn't here to give us answers. It's here to make us confront the moments when light and shadow intersect. In some people's eyes, life is like the intertwined white night of Ryoji and Yukiko, a state where there is neither day nor true night, only an endless expanse of gray. And you? Right now in your world, where is the light? And where are the shadows? White Night is a profound and gripping psychological suspense novel that delves into the complexities and helplessness of human nature. If you enjoy labyrinthine plots full of suspense and intrigue, like The Devotion of Suspect X, then this book will certainly keep you hooked. It's not just a mystery but also a deep exploration of love and guilt, with every page stirring ripples that reach the depths of your soul. If you're someone who enjoys uncovering the complexities of human nature, reflecting deeply on emotions and morality, or if you're going through a period of inner turmoil and like to converse with yourself through words, this book is perfect for you. The ideal reading experience is during those quiet, late-night hours, especially in a dimly lit corner where the book's enigmatic story will gently pull you into its world of white nights. It reminds us that every action has its motives. Asking one more why in daily interactions can help cultivate empathy and lead to deeper understanding. The book also reveals the shades of gray in human nature, encouraging us to confront complexity, embrace uncertainty, and even use writing as a way to record unresolved mysteries, much like the unspoken truths hidden within its pages. May this book become your companion for reflective evenings and bring a touch of contemplative resonance to your journey through life. As we wrap up today's discussion, the light and shadow of White Night might have left a lingering impression in your mind. This is a book that stays with you long after you finish reading, because every page seems to ask us, can light and shadow, good and evil, truly be separated completely? I'm especially curious, after reading this book or listening to today's sharing, how do you feel about the intertwined destinies stretched across time within the story? If faced with similar conflicting choices in your own life, would you hold firmly to the justice you believe in? Or would you choose to understand and accept the unspeakable darkness? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section, or you can also share your favorite lines or scenes from the book. Perhaps your comment could become a spark of inspiration for other listeners. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope we can all find our own light and answers in the complexities of life. See you next episode.